Good afternoon, everyone. This is Brian McNeill of Very Personal Sales Coaching, and it is my honor to be a part of the Sales and Marketing Super Conference 2014. I tell you, I am a huge fan of what Shay and Trevor are doing, what they've done for this past 2 years actually. Everything I see them do, it just charges me up. And I consider them friends of mine. I consider them mentors of mine. And I consider them very smart men. And I will tell you, I am honored to be a part of this because one thing I know with those two guys, they are not going to have anybody on these calls that is going to waste your time. They're going to have the top people telling you their very best stuff. And I'm going to do the same thing for you as well. My name is Brian McNeill, and my company is called Very Personal Sales Coaching. And I figured it out just today. For 26 years now, I've been helping men and women across this country to sell better. Thousands have taken part of my workshops, and thousands have been greatly improved. Hundreds upon hundreds have been part of my one-on-one sales coaching, and I have the testimonials and I have the records to prove it. And today I'm going to give you, in a short time frame, the very best nuggets to ensure that you succeed in selling your services. It's my mission in life. My mission in life is to help those who sell services. It's my belief that our entire nation's economy will be greatly improved if more people knew how to sell their services better. You know, things that are intangible. You know, not something that you touch, a service, a coaching, a consulting. Selling service is the backbone of our nation, and it's my mission to help men and women across this country to sell their services better than they ever have before. And I can help you to do that. Now, I am going to be content heavy over this next maybe 20-30 minutes from now. Very content heavy. I dare not suspect that I'm going to be able to give you everything that you're going to need, but I'm going to give you enough that after this workshop, you will know how to be profitable, more profitable next month than you are this month, and more profitable the month after that than you were next month. And I'll show you how to do it. All right. Now, first thing I want to talk to you about is why you cannot fail in selling your services. Now, I didn't misspeak. You cannot fail in selling your services if you would do just a simple work. It's not easy work. It's a simple work. And I'll make it very simple. First thing you all got to do, and it's kind of like become my calling card, so to speak, most people do not tell their story well. If you were to call me up, I offer a 6 to 10 minute talk for free. 6 to 10 minutes, and I ask you 3 or 4 questions, and I can tell where the person is pretty much by the answers to those 3 or 4 questions. Most people, that's how real this is. A real sneeze right in the middle of my workshop. But most people who sell services do not tell their story well. The 3 questions I would typically ask you is, number 1, I'd put you in a scene. Like if you were at a party and it was a grown folks party, there was not a lot of loud music or anything like that going on, and you ended up in a huddle where there was a couple of guys and a couple of ladies just happened to be standing around each other, and if the conversation swung around to you and they asked you, what do you do for a living? Now, how would you answer that question in that scene? That'd be the first question I'd ask you. The second question I would ask you is, who pays you? Very important answers to these questions. And the third question I would ask you is, what business are you in? Now, those are 3 simple questions, but there's a lot of power in those questions. And there's a lot that I can discover, and so can you, in answering those questions. For example, question 2 is, who pays you? If your answer is clients or customers pays you and you sell intangibles, then whatever you thought your real business was, most likely that's not it. Most likely it's not. If clients pay you, your real business is the capturing and keeping of a new client. That's your real business. The capturing and keeping of a new client is your real business. The service you provide, the consulting you provide, those are services. But what actually brings you in money, what actually secures your income, is by you capturing and keeping a new client. So that would be the first thing that I would have you write down. My real business is the capturing and keeping of a new client. What I do, the workshops, the coaching, the seminars, the newsletter, all those things are services that you provide. Everything, offering of the MP3s, all that stuff. Those are services that you provide, but your real business is the capturing and keeping of a new client. Now I'm gonna say this next part slower because I want you to capture some of it, because there's gold. And if you don't capture it all, contact me. My name is Brian McNeill. You can Google me, Brian K. McNeill. You can go to my website, verypersonalsalescoaching.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm a big LinkedIn guy. You find me on LinkedIn. I'm Brian K. McNeill, or listed as the most fun speaker. You find me that way on LinkedIn. Please, please, please connect with me. Get with me on Facebook. Brian Keith McNeill. That's my name. You can even have my phone number. It's 919-345-4893. The reason why I want you to get in touch with me is I have 30 something plus videos. So you can some of the stuff I'm going to talk to you about right now is going to actually be in the videos that I would send you for free anyway, or you can find them on YouTube. But here's the thing you need to know. You need to know how to tell your story better. The first thing I would have you do is learn how to tell your story better. And your story is this. Whenever you're in a situation, whether it's in person or on the phone or online, where you are given an opportunity to tell what it is that you do for a living, like that in that party scene, what do you do for a living? You have to understand that that moment right there is an opportunity. If someone asks you, what do you do for a living? That is your opportunity to introduce. Here's what I would have you do. If I were coaching you, the first thing I have you do is introduce a problem that you solve. When someone asks you what you do for a living, introduce a problem that you solve. And I would have you do it this way. I'll just take my business, for example. What do you do for a living, Brian? Well, you know how there are so many wonderfully talented coaches and consultants with outstanding services to provide, and so many of them only make a little bit of money, or they're only vague at how to sell their services. Well, what I do is I show them how to sell their services better than they ever had before. And I do that through my coaching and my workshops and my follow-up, so that they can be much more profitable than they ever have been before, or so they can focus on what actually earns them money instead of trying to figure things out. That's what I do. Now, what I just did there probably sounded good for you because I used a formula. And I would do the same thing in your industry. The first part of the formula is when someone asks you what do you do for a living is your opportunity to introduce into the conversation a problem that you solve. So what do? You know how, and whatever big major problems you solve. That's part one of the three parts of your story. This is not an elevator pitch. This is your story. Part number two, you're introducing yourself as a solution to the problem. You know how, da-da-da-da. Well, what I do is da-da-da-da. You tell what you do. You're introducing yourself as a solution to the problem. And then the third part, which is the most important part, which is what most of these sales trainers will tell you, most people forget. Most people forget the third part, which is the most important part. The third part is the one that makes you money. The third part is the great big payoff of working with you so that they can. You need to say that when someone asks you what do you do for a living, you need to make sure you include the so that they can. Well, I do this, this, and this so that they can. Because if you can answer the so that they can, even if they are not candidates for your service in that moment, they can intelligently refer you. I go to networking functions from time to time. I go touring from time to time, and you ask people what they do for a living, and a lot of people have clever answers that do not sell. A lot of people have stories that do not sell. Sometimes people just tell and they miss opportunities. These are opportunities that you cannot afford to keep missing. And I will submit someone listening to this call right now has missed many opportunities. Money that should have been theirs has slipped through their fingers just because they missed opportunities. And we don't want you to continue missing opportunities. We want you to capture opportunities. That's what these sessions are all about. Again, I am in love with what Shay and Trevor have put together. These workshops here, oh my gosh, somebody's going to be blessed tremendously. And you know, when you get blessed, when you learn how to do your thing better than you ever did before, when you make more money, it benefits us all. None of us lose anything by sharing with you. It's like light in a candle. A candle can light, one single candle can light thousands of other candles and never lose anything. But the whole room gets brighter. And that's what we're doing here. So the first thing I would have you do is learn how to tell your story better. And I would encourage you to use that formula that I just espoused. You know how. Da 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 da. Well, what I do is da 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 da, so that they can da 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 da. Practice your story. And I would say your first homework assignment is to tell your story to one new person a day. Use your own creativity and volition and energy to figure out a way to tell your story to one new person per day. Now, when I first got into sales, I was 23 years old. Looking at me right now, none of you guys would suspect I'm much older than that, other than the cotton that's now in my face. Okay, but I was horrible for the first 8 months. I was the worst salesperson the company had. I was low on the totem pole until I discovered my first book on sales. It was called The Art of Sell. How to Master the Art of Selling by Tom Hopkins. And on page 4 of that book, it talked about why you cannot fail in the profession of selling. And at that time, I was in pain, and I needed someone to tell me why I can't fail in the world of selling. And Tom did that. And I'm going to tell you why you cannot fail in selling your services. If you will do just this one thing. If you will tell your story. Tell your story. The magic formula is tell your story 4 times in a day. To 4 new people. If you tell your story to 4 new people in the calendar day, whether you do 2 times before lunch or 2 times after lunch, however you do it, but you can't fail even if you do it horribly. If you tell your story to 4 new people a day and you work 5 days a week, even if you tell every single one of them at the end of the story, don't buy from me, somebody will twist your arm and make you buy from them. They have to do it. If you tell your story 4 times a day for 5 days a week, that's 20 times in a calendar week. That's 80 times in a calendar month. That's 160 times in 2 calendar months. If you tell your story 100 times to a new person, whether it takes you 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, but if you tell your story to 100 new people, let's say in a 90-day time period, 60-day time period is better, you cannot fail. And if you will do that right there, you will never have to look back on your profession. You'll never have to wonder where your leads are coming from, because just by telling your story, you will create the momentum you need. You will create the new leads that you will need. You will create the money that you need. You will create the new clients that will lead you to your next clients. And that's one of the things I teach people, how to mine their current clients for new business. That's the first formula. First, I would have you figure out how to tell your story to 1 new person a day. Then I would have you figure out how to tell your story to 2 new people until we get up to the magic number of 4. This is old school right here. And this is school. Here's the challenge that I run into a lot. I have wonderful clients, and I love, love, love them all. And I have so many talented people that question me and ask me things. And I discover most of the time they do not ever give the clients a chance to say yes or no to their services. A lot of people spend a lot of time and energy telling what they do and marketing, but they never give anybody a chance to say, can I work with you? They don't give anybody a chance to give it a try. Give people a chance to say yes. They say, well, what I do is this, this, and this, and this. And then that's it. And they're hoping that the client will be so impressed by what they actually do, the client will say, well, can I work with you? And that really, really makes it more difficult for the client to actually work with you. You're asking the client really to do your work for you. So I want you to learn how to tell your story and then ask for business. And I'll teach you how to do that. Again, very personal sales coaching, Brian Keith McNeill, and I will help you with that. That's the first thing you need to do. Now, once you learn how to tell your story, I want you to now, I am a smart man, and I hire people to do social media for me and to do some of that marketing for me, people that are really, really good at it. And I think you all should hire those people. I think you all should have an assistant, a virtual assistant. One of the great books I've read, Walk Like a Giant, Sell Like a Madman by Ralph Roberts. And basically, I think it's chapter 6, saying if you don't have an assistant, then you are one. And it took me a long time to come around, but virtual assistants are worth it, especially if it's a good one. So you need some help. Nobody could do this thing on their own. We all need help. All of us, you too, me too. We need help to build our businesses the right way, and that's what we should do. So learn how to tell your story. Figure out a way to tell it one new time a day. Now, I'm going to give you a formula. Now, before I do this, you may have heard these things before, but I'm about to tell you some stuff. When it comes to securing new business, different people go about it different ways based upon their personality and the things in their environment. Some people are hunters. They're hunters. They want to plan it out, go out, capture, kill, and eat what they catch. Those are hunters. And then some people are farmers. They want to plant seeds and water a garden and take great care of their field because they know by taking great care of their field, a harvest is going to come in due season. And some people are relators. Relators, they love people and they spend a lot of time talking with people and showcasing what they do. They just want to relate. And they're hoping by relating to a lot of people, somebody will say, hey, can I work with you? And then some people are visitors. They really like people and they like talking to people about what they do and they like sharing what they do, but they never ever ask for business. Now, in those four groups of people, the hunters and the farmers make the money. The relators make less money and visitors make no money. Visiting is not profitable. You have to give people a chance to try your service because if you don't give them a chance to try your service, chances are they won't. That's not the way to do business. Don't be a visitor. You have to give people a chance to try you because some people will. Relating without offering your services is not very fair or even a nice thing to do because basically what you're doing is you're wasting each other's time. You want to relate, you want to help people, yes, but give people a chance to use your services. Let them know that you believe your services is good enough to help them too. And if your service is not good enough to help them too, then make your service to that place. Get it to the place where it can be helpful to someone. Farmers, they consider a field, a market. I want to work with coaches and consultants. I want to work with educators. I want to work with dentists. I want to work with real estate agents. I want to work with moms, single moms. I want to work with single mom solopreneurs. I want to work with the elderly. You consider a field. You get to decide. You consider a field and a market that you want to farm. And then once you considered your field, you need to plant your seeds in that field carefully. And you need to water those seeds. Write articles that those farmers, that those people in that industry will read. Write your articles, follow up with, get to know those folks, stay close to them, become the recognized authority in that field because farmers make a lot of money. And then there's hunting. Now, hunters are much more direct and intentional about how they go about securing new business. Now, today we have tools that you must use. MUST. You got to use LinkedIn. You got to use Google+. You got to use Facebook. You got to use all of this other stuff. Twitter. You got to use all of this stuff. And there's 30 more that I didn't mention. I say you must use all of it skillfully with a plan. And you got to know how to go get you some money. Now, if you now there's a difference. Then this is the sales and marketing super conference. Sales is asking for money and overcoming objections to get it. The transaction part of it. The marketing is the creating awareness of it. The creating awareness to the right marketplace so that the right marketplace can utilize your services. Now, who makes more money, the great closer or the great marketer? Typically, the great marketer will make more money than the great closer because the great marketer is only going to prospect to the right people. And the great closer typically tries to sell to anybody. And that's really fool's gold too. So I want you to take part in as many of these sessions as you physically can. Take part in all of them so you're going to learn all the different ways. And then when it comes down to when you want to go get your money, and you want to have people to help you that way, Brother Brian is here to save the day. All right, so here's a formula. This is a hunting formula that I'm going to give you that I will ensure that you cannot fail and you will make the money. This is a workshop here that folks pay me a lot of money to give, and we're going to give it to you right now for free. Okay. Here's what I would have you do. If you're my brother, you're my sister, and I want to ensure that you make more money next month than you're making this month, no matter what you're earning. I want to ensure that you're making more money next month. I would have you do this. I would have you, you'd have to do a little bit of work with me, but the first thing we have to do is determine who you want to work with, and you get to decide. So let's say you decide you want to work with chiropractors. Let's just say that. Chiropractors and massage therapists and those kinds of things. Anyone to do with touching the back, okay, adjusting, all that kind of stuff. That's your field. That's your market. You get to pick. I want you to use the resources available to us, LinkedIn and Google, pretty much, to pick 40 of them that you want to have as a target. You get to pick like flowers. You don't have to wait for them to raise their hand saying they're interested. I want you to, on purpose, just pick any 40 that you think you want to work with and whatever criteria. If your work is geography sensitive, if you want to write in your area, if you don't want them in your area, if you want them to have a certain number of years in business or a dollar amount annually, you can research and find out all this stuff. Pick 40 targets. Pick 40 targets for you. You got to have some targets. And it doesn't matter whatever criteria you use, the number and the discipline to follow this formula matters a whole lot more than who you actually pick. So, and let's say you do it in a disciplined way. Let's say you do it on a Monday. You start out on Monday morning, you decide you're going to research and come up with whatever criteria that you choose. And by the end of that work day, you're going to have 40 potential targets for your business. Step one. The next day, I want you to send all 40 of them an email. That email is going to be introductory and it's going to be short. It's going to say things like, this is our Brian McNeill with Very Personal Sales Coaching, and I work with companies just like yours, and what I'm looking to do is to find 4 free minutes of yours so that I can see how we can be most helpful to each other. Something very short like that, and leave your contact information. Send them all an email. Okay? It doesn't matter if they read it or not. This is a process. Selling is a process, but the most important part of the process is still, and always has been, and always will be, the most important part of the selling process is the actual person doing the selling. The salesperson is more important than any other part of the process. You are. And you have to be the kind of person that earns and deserves the business that you're going after. Send them all an email on the next day. After you send them all an email, all 40 of them, you're going to start the process of actually picking up that phone and calling them. The call is going to be brief. It doesn't matter if they answer or not. It doesn't matter if you have to leave a voicemail or not. But it's basically going to say, this is Brian McNeill with Very Personal Sales Coaching. I sent you an email yesterday introducing myself and my services to you. Did you have a chance to look at the email? If they answer the phone, you ask them the same thing. If they say, yes, I read the email. No, I did not read the email. Just say, fine. I just want to introduce my service. I believe this is a good match between you and I. Can I have 4 minutes to talk with you? It doesn't matter if they say yes or no. It doesn't. Okay, if they say yes, that's better. Go ahead and schedule it. If they say no, not right now, then most people can't say no. They'll say not right now. They'll say too many irons in the fire, or I'm too busy. They'll give you all these excuses because most adults, for most adults, the word no is too final. So they'll give you all kinds of excuses. And if you're polite about it and you're brief, done. Okay? It doesn't matter if they answer the phone or not. The important thing is that you do the steps. Now, so far, what has happened? You've considered a field and you picked 40 targets. You sent them all an email, and you made a phone call to all of them. Get on a schedule. You're not going to be able to call them all in one day a lot of times. Let's say you call 4 before lunch and 4 after lunch, or 5 before lunch and 5 after lunch. And it might take you 3 or 4 days to call all 40 of them and leave them all a voicemail or actually get in touch with them. Okay? Now, the reason why I want you to follow this formula, we're going to continue in just a moment, but as an aside, I want you to follow this formula because this is the case. In the United States, the average sale is still closed after the 5th attempt. Most people in the business never really make an attempt at all. They never ask for the business. People that come from a sales background typically will ask for the business once or twice and then never again. But only the champions will ask for the business the requisite 4, 5, 6, 7, or even 8 times. They'll stay in the game. They'll just follow up until. Now, if I ask a client to buy from me and they say, no, I'm not going to buy right now, then I say, well, if I do this and this and this, and they say no, and what if I do this, this, and this, and they say no, that's not me asking 3 times. That's me asking 1 time and then harassing them. That's not doing it the right way. So what I would teach you guys to do is how to stay on a formula. Again, now so far, what we've done, we found them, we've made an introductory email, and we made an introductory phone call. That's technically 2 times we have touched the client in a matter of days. The following week, you're going to send them all another email. That second email you're going to send them is going to be a little bit longer. It's going to be more descriptive of what you and your service is and what you do. So you send them that email. This is Brian McNeill, and this is what I've done, and this is what some of my clients have said about my work, and I believe I can have a great result with you. Can I have 4 minutes? Why 4 minutes? Because you can always be squeezed in. That's your third touch. After that third touch, that email, you're going to make another follow-up phone call. Doesn't matter if they've not answered anything. Let's say they didn't check your emails or nothing. They never got you. You have to leave voicemails or whatever. But on that third touch, that fourth touch, that that second phone call, what you're going to say is, even if they don't answer the phone, what you're going to say is, I sent you a couple of emails and I called you last week. Now, it doesn't matter what their client's response is, but what has happened is the client knows, okay, this is basically the 4th touch, and you know this is the 4th time you have touched them, right? Initial email, follow-up phone call, a second email, a little bit longer, and a second phone call. 4 touches, basically in about a week and a half, something like that, okay? Now, around this 4th touch, some people will start raising their hand saying, okay, tell me more. And that's great. And some people will raise their hand saying, don't consider me anymore. And that's great too. Just replace those. Now, after you've done that with all of your 40, the 5th touch, I want you to be a little bit more, I want you to do something different. Some people like to actually send a letter. I like the idea of you sending a letter because you can put your business card in the letter to their home or business. So let's go with that. Or whatever, you might want to have another way to touch them. Send them a text message or something like that. Okay, and what you're basically saying in the letter is, I've sent you a couple of emails, I've made a couple of phone calls, I really believe we'll be a great match. Can I find 4 of your minutes? That's your 5th touch, right? Beautiful. After you have done that, the following week, you're going to touch them one more time to your comfort level. It's going to be either a phone call or an email or a text, whatever you want, that 6th touch. After that 6th touch, you're going to send them you're going to contact them once a month for the rest of their lives until they buy or die. You're just going to keep following up. With this simple formula, these are called campaigns, by the way. You do this first campaign, it might take you 4 to 6 weeks to do it, depending upon your comfort level and your business level. You do this first campaign, and then they go monthly with you. And then you'll start another campaign. This is what you do in addition to everything else you're doing to stay profitable. In addition to. Things you need to understand. There's some words that you need to understand. There's some things you need to understand. Every person that you talk to about your business, or even talk to at all in any business setting or anything like that, they want 2 things from you. Thing number 1 they want from you is they want to know that you can solve at least one of their problems. Nobody wants you to solve all of their problems, but they would like to know that you can solve at least one problem that they're having. The second thing that they want from you is they want for you to make them feel important. So in all your stuff, all your interactions with them, following this formula, you need to have it in mind that however you contact them, you're trying to convey that you can solve one of their problems and you're going to help them to feel important. Address them respectfully, use their name. If you can get on a first name basis, wonderful. So now, again, there's so much more that I can have to offer, but I'm going to be respectful to the time allotted and not talk that much more. But I will say this too. Somebody that's going to see this here is going to understand that they've been spinning their wheels. There's a better way. They can make a lot more money based upon what they actually do, and they're going to seek some help. Now, if you tell me that you've actually seen this right here and you reach out to me, I will do something amazing for you. Okay, the first conversation you have costs you no money. It's going to be 6 to 10 minutes long. That's it. Dial my number 919-345-4893. I promise you, stick with Shay and Trevor. Follow these steps right here. Reach out to people that can help you. Allow me to help you. Your next month will be much more profitable than this one, and it doesn't matter where level of profitability you have right now. I know I can help you to be more profitable than you are right now. Thank you again for this opportunity. Bless your day, and I know that you will be much more of a champion than you have ever been before just because you decided to.